Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry this is a bit of a late video. Could have done one yesterday, but very busy doing a bit of garden work for the missus to make up for the fact that I was out all day on Saturday. Wow, what a start to the season. Absolutely buzzing from that. 3-0 win, clean sheet, Richie scores 2. You can't ask for more than that, can you? Decent game as well. Never felt like we were under any pressure at all. Felt very relaxed, to be honest with you. I felt no concern in the game whatsoever. I didn't feel like Burnley threatened at all, which I guess you'd kind of expect, right? More of a defensive team, just come up, probably looking to just get off to a bit of a decent start for themselves, trying to keep it tight and so on. But actually, even without that kind of creativity right in the centre, pulling strings and stuff, thought we did really, really well. I've got to be honest with you, like most people, I was really shocked that Frank went in with Bergvall and Gray in the centre, especially when you consider you've also got Sarr in there. We forget how young Sarr is, right? He's only a young guy. So really, really young midfield there. But thought they coped very, very well. I didn't feel that they got overrun. I know I've seen a few people saying, Gray took a bit of time to settle. But, I thought we did all right. We didn't concede any goals. We wasn't under any pressure whatsoever. And that says more about Burnley, I guess. It is only Burnley, but then we've seen our team get beat by teams that are going through difficult times and relegation fodder, all that kind of stuff. We've seen that happen. So you have to beat who's put in front of you, right? So for me, I thought we played really, really well. I was really happy with it. Kudus, what a game he had as well. Really, really looks to be a great buy for us. Absolutely spot on, and I thought he did exceptionally well. It's great as well to see him kind of talking about his keenness to entertain, but also that he wants to provide the goals. That's his job. That's how he sees it. And to bag 2 assists. It is great, to see. It's something that we haven't seen for so long from that right-hand side, kind of nothing really coming in. So a couple of really good crosses that's been missing for an age, to be fair. But Richarlison, who is this guy? Where did he come from? I mean, I've been one of the ones complaining about Richarlison, the fact that he needs to go and he's not able to score and he's poor and blah, blah, blah. And then he turns up and bags a couple of really, really good goals. First one, not easy, played across, swept straight in, first time, took with, elegance. I thought it looked, really, really good. Couldn't believe it in the stadium, watching all of a sudden, we're up on our feet watching Kudus running along and put that ball in, and then Richarlison just sweeping it home. Absolutely delighted for him. He's had such a terrible time at Tottenham. It would be good if this isn't just a stutter or, something exceptional, that this is going to be something like, his performances are going to raise to that kind of level all the time, put Solanke under a lot of pressure and give us that option to interchange them. Maybe he's not going. Maybe he's fighting for his place. Maybe he really does want to stay at Tottenham. Maybe he is now at the point where he's settled. He's got his head straight. He's physically okay, and they are managing his minutes in the right way. Time's only going to tell, right? We're an emotional bunch, aren't we? And you're only as good as your last game. So if he can maintain that, then I'm happy. I'd still like to see us bring in another striker, if I'm being honest, because I don't trust that it's going to be that. I'm hoping it is. World Cup coming up, I guess, and he's thinking to himself, I need to be in that Brazil squad. And then when he comes up and he scores a goal like his second goal, you think to yourself, wow, You know, the guy has clearly got ability. It's just not been working. And maybe the missing link is Kudus with his crossing ability and the fact that he's putting the balls in there to give Richarlison something to work off of, because he's not really had that before. It's been quite poor. He's been played on the left and all the rest of it and not been consistent. Maybe that little bit of trust, maybe that little bit of additional kind of firepower coming is giving him the impetus to really kind of pick it up. So we'll see where Richarlison goes from that point of view. But you know, I'm over the moon to see him get a couple of goals and look really, really sharp. He looked really sharp in the Super Cup. Disappointing, obviously, in the end there. But I thought his performance was probably the best that he'd given us since he's been with us. And then he goes out and does that to, you know, Saturday. So yeah, I was over the moon. We was you know, in shock in the stadium. If I'm being honest, like, there was an audible shock that he scored the second one the way he did. And to bag it all, on comes Johnson to bag the third goal. Yeah, you know, Johnson doing what Johnson does. You know, he was very quiet during the game, but when called upon, he took that goal exceptionally well. Great ball through, ran onto it, and just took it in his stride, put it in the back of the net, killed the game, absolutely killed the game. And Burnley were kind of devastated. They wasn't going to get back into that for sure. So yeah, overall, really, really pleased with the performance. Pleased that Frank was able to rotate in the way that he did, because I thought it was going to be a difficult one Saturday. You know, I thought to myself, after the exploits of Wednesday night, was it going to be too much? Is it going to be too difficult? Because we probably needed to be a little bit more offensive rather than defensive in this game, because this is the ones you're kind of expected to win. Everyone was predicting a win. But I thought, it might be tighter than that. I thought if they sit deep and all the rest of it, we lack creativity, the tiredness of all the hard work from Wednesday. I thought it could be a difficult game for us. But he was bold in terms of his changes. Trusted in those youngsters to kind of have that energy or whatever. But say, Kudus, you know, probably the bright spark in all of that. I mean, the mad skill to kind of take the ball down. I think it was from Gray, where he kind of cushioned the ball down by putting his front leg behind him, kind of thing. You've all seen it. You know, I you know, a real bright spark really made the difference, and you know, you can't really complain about the overall result in terms of the performance for sure. Second goal as well. Not only was it excellent in terms of the finish, but every player touched the ball. 17 touches before the goal was scored. Proper team goal. So again, Frank had to be really, really pleased with that. Seeing his interviews afterwards, a bit different from Ange in terms of, you know, a little bit more kind of engaging. Certainly towards the end of Ange's reign, it was very, very negative. But this was more engaging and stuff like that. And obviously a bit of a honeymoon period. We have to remember Ange got off to 10-game unbeaten run when he first came in, and there was a real feel-good factor around the place. I'm hoping that this one with Frank goes on a bit longer than that, and maybe being given a bigger job, with all due respect to Brentford, will give Frank the opportunity to really kind of test himself and use some of those ideas that he's probably had at Brentford and not been able to employ, them at Tottenham with maybe some better players. Again, time will tell on that. It is early days for sure. I mean, it's only match week 1, and there is a long, long way to go, but promising signs. Good to see we get off to that start. Up next, obviously, Man City. Totally different prospect. Suspect we will go a lot defensive in that game. Maybe a bit like the PSG game in terms of the setup and so on. And I guess it depends on what happens in terms of signings. We are still waiting to see what's going to happen with Eze and Savinho. Will they come? Won't they come? I mean, I'm hoping. I was watching Nige Purecois this morning. If you don't watch him, worth giving him a look in the mornings around 8:30, a couple of days a week. We were chatting about that, and I'm saying 6 o'clock tonight. He's saying 3 o'clock this afternoon that they're going to drop is it a bomber? I don't know. I'm a bit too old for all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so it looks like that's what we're hoping for, or I'm hoping for. But we'll see. We'll see. You know how these things go. It can drag right on and so on. But keep the faith. But until they're holding up the shirt, I never kind of believe that it's ever really going to happen. One last thing I just wanted to mention. Did have a wander down to the Bill Nicholson gates on Saturday. I have to say, when they said about it, where it was being located, I did think to myself, well, that's a bit out of the way. It's not going to be too good there, and you know, a bit naff and so on. And I would have liked to have seen it on the concourse in by the park lane. But actually, I have to say, it looks really, really good. Really, really good. It spreads right across the section that they've put it in. It's not just the gates, they've actually put a picture behind it, the actual original picture with Bill Nicholson in the picture there. So you can go there, you can stand there and hold the gates in his position as well, or have your picture taken to the side of it. And I really enjoyed it, I thought it was a really nice touch and really kind of brings that area into it around by the ticket office. So if you're ever up at Tottenham, go and give that a look. It is a really nice touch. I'll use the picture as my thumbnail for this video. But again, as always, guys, if you don't subscribe, please consider doing that because it helps the channel. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you agree or disagree with all my comments, please do feel free to leave some comments. Good to have those on there as well. I'll be back tonight, actually. Going to come back tonight and do a live stream with the Essex boys, and we'll see how that kind of picks up. So if you can join us on that around about 8:30 tonight, that'll be good to have you for a live stream. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. Up the Spurs.